What's up, YouTube? So some of you guys were interested in seeing a deck tech of the Shardless BUG deck that I played at the Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. Legacy Tournament. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys exactly what I used. It's nothing really original or anything. It's pretty much a net deck, but man, it's a lot of fun to play. Starting off with the 1-drops here. This is really what makes it so much fun. Ancestral Vision, which is a suspend cost of 1 and it's 4 turns. Target player draws 3 cards. And the fun interaction is with this guy, and it's kind of where it gets its name, Shardless BUG. This guy is a 2/2 for 3 mana, and when you play him, he's got Cascade. So if you can manipulate your deck setup with Ancestral Vision on top and you play Shardless Agent, then you get to basically cast a free spell that draws you 3 cards, which is a ton of fun when that happens. It's like, oh, I'm running low on cards, let me go ahead and Brainstorm, set this up, and oh, now I've got 3. So I run 4 Ancestral Visions, and then 4 Brainstorms. This is just such a powerful card in Legacy. Being able to draw 3, put 2 cards that you don't need at that time back onto your deck, and then use a fetch land to shuffle away all those cards that you didn't need. It's just really powerful. And then main deck, I had 2 Thoughtseize. The other 2 were in the sideboard, which I'll go over in a little bit. And then 4 Deathrite Shamans. These guys are really solid also. The other reason why I wanted to play Shardless BUG is because this right here is one of my favorite cards. Ever since I was a kid, I've just always thought it was so powerful and just a lot of fun because of the randomness that can happen. Hymn to Tourach is 2 black sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards at random from his or her hand. And then if they don't have enough, they just discard the whole hand. But 2 cards for 2 black mana, 1 card of yours, and it's at random. So this really screws over like combo decks that are banking on keeping a certain card in their hand. They can't protect it. So this thing can really just be like a make or break. So I run 3 of these in my deck. It's just really one of my favorite cards. It's so much fun. Then I run 4 Abrupt Decays. This has got to be like one of the best pieces of removal. The fact that it can't be countered. So if somebody plays like a counterbalance or even like Chalice of the Void for 2, like you could still blow up Chalice of the Void with this because it can't be countered. It's really solid. So I run 4 of these, and for the most part, when Shardless Agent goes off and runs into an Abrupt Decay, it's usually still pretty good. I did have 1 game where I cast Shardless Agent and my opponent had nothing on the board and I went into an Abrupt Decay. I had a Tarmogoyf on my side, so I just chose not to cast it, and then the card ends up going on to the bottom of the library. So like, I don't want to blow up my own Tarmogoyf. Then I run 2 Baleful Strix main deck. This guy's really solid. A 1/1 Flying Death Touch that draws a card. So pretty much able to block everything. The one card that I did not have in here that I thought about running, but I didn't, but now I kind of wish I did, was a Jitte. Putting a Jitte on the Strix would have been pretty good. And then I run 4 Tarmogoyfs. And not much needs to be said about Tarmogoyf. Everybody knows how powerful of a card that guy is. Moving into the 3-drops, this is what the deck is named after, Shardless Agent, Shardless BUG. So, of course, I run 4 of these guys. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 colorless. He's a 2/2 beater, and he's got the Cascade effect. So, all these cards here on the left side, he can Cascade into. It's usually almost always relevant what he gets. It's, you pay 3 mana and get 2 for 1. And then I was running 2 Liliana main deck there. I decided to go with an even split between the Planeswalkers. I've seen some people run 3 Jace or 3 Liliana and 1 of the other or 2 of the other. I felt that 2 was an even balance there, and was pretty good. I liked having 2 of each. So then I run 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor. You know, nothing else needs to be said about him. Probably the most powerful Planeswalker in existence. His 0 ability is just another Brainstorm effect, which is really good for setting up the Ancestral Vision on top of your deck, and then going off with the Shardless Agent, being able to cast that, or cascade into it. And then I had 3 Force of Will main deck. I only own 3 Force of Will, so that kind of made that decision easy. So, Force of Will, also very nice. The other good thing about Force of Will is that since its cost is 5, I can't accidentally, like, cascade into it from Shardless Agent. Then moving into the land base, I had 1 Creeping Tar Pit. I wish I would have had 2. I would have ran 2. I think it would have been better. And then I only had 1 Polluted Delta. I ended up getting a second one while I was at the tournament, but I would have liked to have run 3, 3, and 3 for the fetches. But I only had 1 Polluted Delta, so then I ran 4 Verdant Catacombs. And I ran 4 Misty Rainforests. But like I said, if I had 2 more Polluted Deltas, I would have ran 3, 3, and 3. I think that would have been good. Then for the fetch targets, I had 4 Underground Seas, 2 Tropical Islands, and 3 Bayous. I opted for the other Bayou. Like, I've seen some people's lists run like 1 basic island. I tested it out a little bit. I didn't like it. It always seemed to not do what I wanted it to do. I added in the extra Bayou for the Deathrite Shaman activations. I had a lot of Deathrites. I wanted to be able to cast him to Tourach turn 2. So I felt like going with a 3rd Bayou as opposed to a 3rd Tropical Island was smarter. And then I ran 3 Wastelands. So that there is the mana base. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it was 22 land. And then my sideboard, here's what my sideboard was. I had 1 Nihil Spellbomb. Really good for anybody that's trying to utilize their graveyard, especially good against those dredge type decks, loam type decks. Okay, let's get some focus, camera. Here we go. Alright, and then I ran 2 Surgical Extractions. This is also really good against like Reanimator and other specific cards that I needed to get rid of from the graveyard. Another thing that I was trying to do against like the Sneak and Show decks was to Thoughtseize them, getting rid of like Show and Tell, and then using Surgical Extraction to peel out the rest from their deck and hand. So that would really limit their outs to being able to cast their fatties. 2 more Thoughtseize in the sideboard, really against like those combo type matchups. Then I ran 2 Flusterstorms. Really good against Storm. It's even good against, like I said, the Show and Tell. They usually try to set up with like a Lotus Petal first and then cast Show and Tell, and they're usually tapped out, so this is a pretty good 1-drop counterspell. I ran 1 Baleful Strix in my sideboard. I had 2 Submerge. And get some focus. So it's a really good card. You don't really cast it for its 5. But if an opponent controls a forest and you control an island, then you can play it without paying its mana cost. Put target creature on top of its owner's library. So kind of time walks them, getting rid of something on their field. It's just really nice. Like, people aren't expecting it as a free spell. Really good. Then I was running 1 Prenicious Deed. I knew that there was going to be some Affinity played. This is a really good card against Affinity. It turns out it's just a really good card in general. Like, if you're going up against, like, the Painter's Servant decks. And even, like, Mirror Match or like the Junk type decks or Maverick type decks. This is just really good removal. Then I ran 1 Massacre. This is another one of those kind of free spells. If an opponent controls a plains and you control a swamp, you may play this without paying its mana cost. All creatures get -2/-2. And while this does hurt my board state, I'm able to set up the plays to, say not cast my creatures and play Massacre if they've got like a bunch of Deathrites on the board or Affinity dudes or whatever. So like this was just a really good card. I ran 1 Golgari Charm. All creatures get -1/-1. I wanted this for, I figured that there was going to be a pretty predominant amount of True Name Nemesis, the new guy from Commander. He's a 3/1 merfolk that basically you can't interact with at all. This is one of the ways you can and get rid of it by giving it -1. So that is why I was running the Golgari Charm. The added bonus was destroying target enchantment. I figure might be relevant in going up against like a sneak attack or like a reanimate type spell. Animate dead enchantment. The regenerate each creature I didn't really think was going to be too relevant, but I guess it could always be used to save my board in case of a wipe. And finally I ran 2 Engineered Plagues. All creatures of the chosen type get -1/-1. Just pretty good against like elves, goblins, even merfolk, and that's mainly why I was running it. I also boarded it in for like that Painter's Servant to name Goblin for the Goblin Welder to get rid of that. But that's my sideboard, and this was my Shardless BUG deck that I ran. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun playing it. I'm definitely not that great at Magic, and have a lot to learn, a lot to figure out how to make the right decisions when piloting this. It's certainly a more difficult deck to play. It's not just straightforward where you're like trying to get your combo online, like show and tell Emrakul, boom, I win. This is probably one of the more kind of fair decks. A lot of decisions to be made, and a lot of fun. So if you guys like these colors and Shardless into Ancestral, then this deck might be for you. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.